Hi, I'm John. This is my show, Sports Reckoning. So, these are what I like to call the Butt Brothers. Okay, so this is Sports Card Radio, right? So, I don't know either of their names because neither of them are actually that important to me yet. I like some of the work they do and stuff, but a lot of the stories that they break, from what I understand, it's not that they've done investigations into these things, it's that other people have done the investigations, or people are sending them mail telling them you need to look into this, right? So I don't even, on what kind of credit do you give them as breaking stories, or being are they actual reporters? Do they actually do investigations? That's the kind of thing I'm not sure on, what kind of level are these guys. Now, looking at the two guys, the guy on the left there, the one with the glasses, he seems to be the more successful guy, right? So he's the one I don't trust, right? He's too professional and shit, right? So you can't trust him. He's not willing to speak up and do anything that's really a real investigation that could actually cause backlash, something when you're going to actually have to, when you're trying to change the world kind of investigation, right? So the dude on the left over there, the fucking golfer, the loser, the flexing motherfucker, always flexing his gold watch, I don't like him. I really don't like him at all. But the other dude, he's got a little bit of party, the fuck up. He's the fuck up child, right? Okay, he's like the ghetto kid. He's the fuck up child. He's the one that he'll make a bunch of money selling cards, and then he'll go blow it partying in Vegas on cocaine and hookers on the weekend. He'll blow it. He'll make all this money. He'll be for a couple of years. He'll make all this money, but then he'll go to Vegas and blow it on cocaine and hookers and shit, right? And so it's and then he'll get in a fight. He'll end up in jail and shit. And it's okay, well, there's something more about a guy like that I kind of trust. I kind of trust a fuck up loser like that. It's but he's not a total fuck up loser. There's a part of him that's smart and quality. There is a quality part of him and a smart part of him, right? But I like that he has in him that fuck up loser part, right? That's what I like about him. That's why I don't like the guy over on the left with the glasses, because I don't see any of that fuck up loser in him. He's too fucking, butt plug up his ass and shit, too proper and shit. I don't really trust him. But the other guy, right? The other brother, he's got that fuck up nature in him. He's got that kind of I don't give a fuck attitude, right? And then he's got that attitude you come after me, I'm gonna bury your ass. I've heard some of that shit coming after him. And he's got that revenge thing. Oh, you fuck with me, dude? You wait. And when I get my chance to come after you, I'm gonna fucking stomp on you. He carries that fucking revenge factor in him, right? Where he's okay, it's alright, you got me right now, but I know, and you just wait. Time's gonna work itself out. It's gonna play itself out. Things are gonna come around, and when they do, I'm gonna fucking get you, motherfucker. He's got that attitude in him, right? So it's I like him. So even though I'm talking here to Sports Card Radio, I'm actually really talking to the guy on the right. He's the only one I really trust. The other dude has never shown me anything that he's legit, that he can do a legitimate investigation, right? So this is what I'm telling you, Sports Card Radio. I think that I can show you information that can lead to groundbreaking, revolutionary fucking reporting that can actually change the world and shit, right? Do shit that could get you killed, right? And you're for that, right? The dude on the right there, you're down with that. You're not afraid. You're oh, this kind of shit that can't be killed. The dude on the right be oh, I'm down with that, right? Where the dude on the left be no, I ain't getting involved with that. I ain't doing nothing like that, right? So. And then the dude on the left, he'll try and punk, because I think he controls the money. The dude on the left, I think he controls more of the money for the guy on the right and shit, right? So this is an opportunity where I'm going to give the dude on the right to step out on your own. Do some real investigation. Let's see what you can do. Let's make a name for you. Make a name for yourself and shit, right? Let's get out of your, from under your brother's wing and shit. Let's make you a real fucking reporter. Let's do some shit that fucking shake up the world and shit, right? So now, I'm just going to throw you some flashes of what would end up being a big investigation. But what this investigation of what it is that I'm doing, what I'm going to talk about here, is Nike assassinating athletes and shit for the benefit of Nike and the benefit of other direct players of who they favor. And we're talking specifically about one here. We're going to talk about Michael Jordan. And we're going to talk about Nike specifically backing and favoring Michael Jordan and going to the lengths of assassinating competitors who would have been hindering his ability to become the champion of what he became. That I'm directly accusing Nike of assassinating Len Bias, Hank Gathers, Reggie White, and Reggie Lewis, and given Magic Johnson AIDS, right? I think Nike had a hand in all of that stuff. Plus, when we go further, when we get also into it, I am very confident I can prove that the helicopter that Kobe Bryant was in was hijacked, was hacked. It was hacked and taken over. That the pilot never lost control. It does the way in which the helicopter crashed it doesn't follow a pattern of a helicopter that was out of control. It follows a pattern of a helicopter that's being hijacked and it's under fucking control and being fucking driven straight into the mountain as it's an assassination and shit, right? And Kobe Bryant's Nike. He's on Nike. And then there was also the Tiger Woods. There was an assassination attempt on Tiger Woods. And one of the things I never thought about the Tiger Woods thing was, but I've heard about it recently, is that there's this thing going on with this live golf stuff. You guys are into golf. You should know about this stuff, right? So I heard that Live Golf offered Tiger Woods like almost $1 billion contract to go play for Live Golf, right? So I wonder when they made that offer, when that stuff was going down, when Live Golf was going after these players, is that about the time where Tiger Woods was almost assassinated? I never thought that Live Golf had anything to do with that, right? But it was clear that Tiger Woods, somebody tried to assassinate Tiger Woods. There is no doubt about that, and I can prove that because I can show you the video of how he's driving right before the accident occurs. I can show you the video. He's alert. He's slowing down. He's not reckless. He's not in any hurry. You can see the video of it. There's nothing about him that is showing any kind of him not being aware, that he's not alert, he's not aware of his environment. He's totally aware. I can show you the video to prove that stuff, right? But then a minute later, he's out of control, driving like a madman, right for the trees and shit, right? And it's like, and then when you ask Tiger Woods, when they asked him, he said, "Oh, I'm not going to talk about the accident." And it's like, what? Because they got to him and told him, right? They probably told him and said, "Look at, yeah, we tried to kill you, motherfucker," right? And it's like, and here's how it goes. You're going to shut the fuck up and do what we say, or else we're going to make sure that your what's it called? It's like your narcotics. What's your drug test? I'm thinking it's the better word though, is your toxicology test. They would say, we'll make sure that your test comes back that has drugs in it, We'll make sure that your test comes back and has drugs in it, which would put you driving under the influence of the time of your crash, and then they'll be like, we're going to send you to jail for that and shit, right? Because I think he might have had other priors and shit too. So, but I think they would have said, we're going to send you to jail, right? We're gonna send you to jail. So shut the fuck up and do what we say. You're not going to sign with Live Golf. Something like that occurred there. Right? So that's what I'm talking about. Are you guys willing to do real investigations? Are you really willing to step up and make accusations? Stuff too with LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James is totally a fucking racist communist piece of shit motherfucker, right? And they're backing him as fuck. And it's all of them. It's like the Disney Corporation, right? Because they own ESPN, and everybody on ESPN says LeBron's the GOAT. Anybody who knows anything, like, dude, Tim Duncan was way better than LeBron James. Right? Tim Duncan beat the fuck out of LeBron James. He was way better. Dude, Kawhi Leonard is a way better fucking player than LeBron James. I mean, it's not even fucking close. Kawhi Leonard is a way better player. Now he's having to deal with some injuries and stuff, but Kawhi Leonard is a way better player than LeBron James, right? Kobe Bryant was better than LeBron James. Shaquille O'Neal was phenomenal fucking. Like when they talk about GOATs, dude, when Shaquille O'Neal was playing, there was a no question. Who's the best player in the league? Clearly, it was Shaquille O'Neal. He was the only unstoppable force. You can put a couple guys on Kobe and make him have to pass the ball and have him struggle, make him get fouls and shit. You can beat him up. You couldn't do that to Shaq. It did not matter what you did. Throw it down to Shaq. Boom! boom, he's gonna fucking elbow you out of his fucking way and dunk on your fucking ass. He was unstoppable. He was the most dominant force in basketball that I've ever seen. I've never seen a player. The only other player now that's like stepping up to being of his quality is like Steph Curry. It's a different type of dominant force, but Steph Curry is of that level. LeBron is never at that level. Jordan was one of those guys, but the problem with Jordan was there's guys that were bigger and more athletic, was what I'm going to show you, like Len Bias and Hank Gathers, right? So if Jordan would have had to go every year, if he would have had to compete like during the season and in the playoffs, if he was going to have to compete against Len Bias and Hank Gathers, that would have hindered his chance of, like I said, then he would have ended up maybe like Kawhi Leonard. He would have ended up with injuries. That's all it was going to take. One serious injury, that would have ended it all for him being able to be like the GOAT of what he is, which would have stopped the Air Michael Jordan shoes from dominating the way it was, which would stop Nike from controlling the world of what they do, all of that stuff. Like, all that's what's really going on. So it's like, do you want to do some real investigation, some hard-hitting fucking investigative journalism into sports and what's going on and how these people act, all this stuff? Like I said, the LeBron James, there's no way he's the GOAT. But why is he the GOAT? Because he's backed by fucking ESPN and Disney and the fucking Nike and the elite powers that be that are trying to sell that to the public. Because, like I said, there's no way he's not the GOAT. Like, the one thing about him is like, okay, when he was when he was young and he played more like a physical power forward, I liked his game. I was like, boy, he's dominant and shit, right? But then look at where he's at now. He's trying to become like the all-time leading scorer. He could have never done that if he was playing power forward. So then they got him like playing point guard. They act like he's not a point guard. It's like, dude, he plays point guard. And then he kind of just is all soft. His game is real soft. It's not real physical and shit. That's given a longevity to his career. That's some planned thing that has occurred. You're going to tell me the young, aggressive LeBron James just said, you know what, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to be the point guard, and I'm just going to dribble the ball up nicely and pass it off over here and make sure that I'm never getting real physical and banging it out and shit. No, that was some big planned event that they wanted to prolong his career. He was in bed with the powerful people. Like, all this stuff is being controlled and stuff. They know what they're fucking doing and shit, right? So, I mean, it's just simple stuff like Tim Duncan. Dude, the Spurs, Tim Duncan and the Spurs, like at the period of time where Tim Duncan was there, I mean, God, what a dynasty and shit, right? And what a great player. Started his career, and he came right in and won. Tim Duncan came right into the league and won. He was, from the time he came into the league to the time he left the league, he was winning. Right? And nobody ever talks about like Tim Duncan is the greatest player. No, it's like, dude, Tim Duncan was way better than LeBron James. I would never ever take LeBron James on my team a pick before I would take Tim Duncan. I would never take LeBron James over Steph Curry. Are you fucking kidding me? Could you imagine having Steph Curry and Tim Duncan on the same team? Oh my God. Holy shit, right? Oh my God. But LeBron, that's the thing. Try and mix him. What player would you put LeBron with that would be like, maybe, well, I think he did play with Shaq even, but that was Shaq at the end of his career. But because Shaq was good. Like, dude, Dwayne Wade was better than LeBron, right? Dwayne Wade didn't go to Cleveland to play with LeBron. LeBron went to Miami to play with Dwayne Wade, who already had a fucking championship. LeBron didn't have a championship. I mean, it's all this bullshit of what's going on out there, right? So, and like I said, they totally assassinated Kobe Bryant. They tried to assassinate Tiger Woods, which, like, at the time when that happened, I didn't think it had anything to do with, I didn't think about Live Golf. I didn't know anything about that. I was just like, shit, oh, they tried to kill Tiger, and then they're going to get his kid who's coming up, and then the kid's going to sign up and be with Nike and be this dominant force, and they're going to sell Nike golf in China. That's like their big plan of what they're doing. Like, that, which could have maybe hindered. That could be a part where it's like, if Tiger would have went to Live Golf, then maybe his son would have grown up and went to Live Golf, which would have hindered this, what they're doing. I don't know, like, all this stuff, but stuff like that's going on. But this is like the stuff what I want to talk about. I want to show you just a couple things here and shit, right? So first of all, Hank Gathers, right? I mean, not Hank Gathers. First of all, Len Bias. Okay, so just listen to this part really quick of Len Bias.
World at his fingertips. Bias was well on his way towards an unquestionably bright future. Less than 48 hours later, his cultural perception and memory for future generations would change forever. The date is Wednesday, June 18th, 1986. At approximately 9:54 p.m., New York Air Flight 67 from Boston arrives at National Airport. On board and in first class, Len Bias and his father, James Bias, prepared to attend an NBA club draft acceptance with the Boston Celtics management. Upon completing a long round of interviews, Bias visited the offices of Reebok, a trendy shoe company that watched Michael Jordan sign a sneaker deal with Nike 2 years before, and had visions of Bias transforming their company the way Michael was doing for Nike. Len was in discussions with the brand regarding a 5-year endorsement package worth $325,000 a year, a contract that will provide financial security. Following the signing ceremony, Bias and his father flew back to the family's home in Landover. Thursday, June 19th.
Okay, so that's what happened. He signs to the Celtics, right? Then he signs a shoe contract deal to Reebok. He signed the deal. So the day after, now what they're going to talk about here, they're going to get in the next day is when he dies and shit, right? So the day after, this is just facts, that the day after Len Bias signs his shoe contract deal with Reebok. And it showed you right there, and if you remember, it showed you the Reebok pump, right? So you have the Air Michael Jordans, but then the Reebok was doing the pump. And now, if Len Bias would have became the big star and the champion, right? Because Jordan doesn't have a championship at that time. And now if Len Bias comes in, and if he's better than Jordan, and he's wearing Reeboks, and he's got the Reebok pump, maybe the Air Jordans don't become the Air Jordan shoes. Maybe they just fall by the wayside where they're cool, but they don't become the big one. Maybe it becomes the Reeboks and the Len Bias. See, that's actually something that could happen, right? But so the day after Len Bias signs his shoe contract deal, he's dead. And they said it's like a cocaine overdose, but that's a heart problem, right? So that's a heart issue. So that's what I want to show you here. So he dies of some kind of heart issue. And they say it's cocaine, but we don't know exactly, but they're saying it's a heart issue. So now, this is Hank Gathers, right? Now, I want you to see Hank Gathers, he's going to be number 44. He's going to dunk the ball. He's going to be overplaying, and then he's going to start running a little bit, and he's just going to stumble and collapse and shit, right? So watch, this is Hank Gathers dying on the court and shit, right? So, and Hank Gathers, he probably would have been the number 1 player drafted, right? So you got to imagine. So if Hank Gathers is going to come, that's like they've already killed Len Bias, and now still Jordan doesn't have a championship, and now here's this guy Hank Gathers who looks like he might be going to the East as the number 1 pick, right? Big, strong, athletic dude who maybe he's better than Jordan, but is sure as hell going to be a test, something that Jordan's going to have a hard time getting through. This kind of player. This is the kind of player that could hinder his ability to be in the fucking champion of what they're trying to make him to be. So let me just show you. Here's Hank Gathers dying. So he dunks the ball. He's all fine, right? Hank Gathers was awesome player. So he's moving around. Everything seems fine. And then here he goes. He just starts stumbling. Bam! Down. And dead. And they were saying it was a heart, like one of those enlarged heart things or whatever it was. Okay, but so now, like I said, I have to get more on the videos and stuff. I'm not sure if this is, because Reggie Lewis, he first had an incident on the court that happened, and then he had a bunch of exams, and then I think he came back and played, and it was like his first game that he came back and played. I think he died. So I'd have to look more into it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just showing you some basic stuff. I've looked into this before, but I'm not sure exactly which video I'm showing you. I'd have to show you better, but I'm just giving you some stuff to show you that this is stuff that's going on. But Reggie Lewis, look at, he's playing all those years, he's playing basketball, he doesn't die, and then all of a sudden, he gets this heart problem, and then they tell him, if you ever play again, you're going to die, and I think it was the next game, he played, boom, died. And it's like, because I think they gave him that drug, they tried to kill him, but it didn't kill him, but it damaged his heart. I think that's what fucking happened, right? That's what I'm thinking is what happened. So when the doctors were saying, dude, if you come back, you're going to die, right? And what happened? He came back and he died, but it wasn't because his heart was always that way, because he never had any problems before. But as soon as they tell him, now you've got a problem with your heart, because they probably tried to kill him and it didn't kill him, but it damaged his heart. That's what I'm thinking probably happened. But so you're going to see him here, and he's going to run down the court and fall. Look at the way it resembles that Hank Gathers, where he's playing and all of a sudden just boom, he goes down with a heart issue, right? So let's watch this. I got some music. So here he is up here, running here. This is him up here. And then boom, 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 down. That sure looks a lot like that fucking Hank Gathers fucking thing. It looked a lot like that Hank Gathers fucking shit, right? I don't know what happened there. Okay, but he didn't die. Okay, he doesn't die. And then, which actually, he was like after, I think he was like 93, it was after the Magic Johnson stuff. So I played that one a little bit out of order, but that was the thing. He was also on the Celtics, that team that Jordan's going to have a hard time getting by the Celtics, these legendary teams. So on the other side, you got the Lakers and shit, right? And then he beat the Lakers in that first year, but I know there was a couple people injured on the Lakers team that year when the Lakers got their ass kicked by the Bulls, but the Lakers were injured in the finals that year. I remember it because I was a Lakers fan back then. But also, the Lakers would have rebuilt it. This we're talking about the Lakers. You're going to tell me the Lakers weren't going to come back and challenge Michael Jordan, right? Magic Johnson's still Magic Johnson. If he doesn't get AIDS, Lakers are coming back. They still got Magic Johnson and shit. Fuck, you know that they're gonna come and it's Magic Johnson, right? But you can't just kill off of Magic Johnson. It's harder to just kill him. They don't want to do that if they don't have to. I mean, he's a big fucking star, right? You're gonna have people looking into it. But so what do? You give him AIDS and take him out of the league. So they took him out. It's like the soft kill instead of the hard kill. You give him the soft kill.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
Okay, so all of those guys who would have been direct competitors against Michael Jordan, and if all of those guys were in the league, do you think there's any chance that Jordan ends up with 6 championships? And then you got Jordan wins 3, and then what happens is his father gets murdered, right? So here we are, and again, another really close connection. His father gets murdered, and what happens? He stops playing basketball. So maybe that had something to do with it. It obviously affected his life in a way where he didn't want to play basketball anymore. Maybe he was thinking because of what he was involved in and stuff that led to his father being assassinated. Like I said, it's like the Tiger Woods thing. What other thing was going? Maybe Jordan was going to think about leaving Nike. Maybe he was going to start his own shoe company. Maybe there's a contract coming up there, and he was hesitant to sign it. Like you'd have to I'd have to do more further investigation, look into the technicalities of that stuff, but that's what I would do. That's what I'm showing you, Sports Car Radio. We could do more of an investigation here, but this investigation is the one. If you want to do a real investigation, you want to do the investigation around the suspicious deaths and exit of players in the NBA that were right around the time of where Michael Jordan was just starting his path to becoming the GOAT. Right? And then it's not just Jordan becoming the GOAT of basketball, it's also the Nike shoe company. It's also what happened to Nike at that same time and shit. What's occurring? Like I said, you just saw Len Bias signed a shoe contract to Reebok. What happened? Dead the next day. Right? You're going to act like that's coincidence. Now I want to show you this other thing. This is the NBA draft for the year that Hank Gathers would have been in there. And you can see see right there, Bo Kimball? That's the other guy that was on the team with, like you see over here, see Loyola Marymount? Okay, so that was Bo Kimball. It was Hank Gathers, and he played with Bo Kimball. Bo Kimball was drafted number 8, okay, but he wasn't Hank Gathers, right? So Hank Gathers most likely would have been the number 1 pick. So what I wanted to show you here was, in that year, the team that had the number 1 pick was the New Jersey Nets. Derek Coleman was a good player, but the way I watched Hank Gathers play, he was like a big physical guy like a Derek Coleman, but he had that like graceful style like a Jordan and shit, right? So I think it's fair to say that Hank Gathers would have went number 1, right? So if you're looking and saying you're looking at that Hank Gathers, and then what I want you to see here is that New Jersey ended up with the number 1 pick. So I wanted to show you this. here. Okay, so this is the NBA records for those teams that year, right? So there's the New Jersey Nets, okay, down at the bottom. Okay, so look at in the East. In the East, you got the Nets who had 17 wins, and then the two teams above them only had 18 wins, right? So the Magic and the Heat. So you have three teams in the East that have 18 wins or less, right? And you go down to the West. Let me roll that up. Okay, so in the West, you have the Charlotte Hornets at the bottom of the West. They've got 19 wins, right? So you got three teams in the East with worse records than the team in the West. So I think by looking at that, I think that it's looking like if you're trying to predict, like, okay, is Hank Gathers going to end up in the East? That's what I'm saying. When you look at this, I think it was safe to make a prediction that there was a good chance that Hank Gathers would go number one and he would end up in the East, which means he's going to be competing against Michael Jordan during the season, plus he's going to be competing against him in the playoffs. That's why you have to eliminate him. And they didn't want to have to wait till he got drafted and have to kill him like Len Bias. So what do they do this time? They kill him before he even gets a chance, because they could see it coming. They could see that that's what was coming. And like I'm showing you here, you can see the type of player he was. And like I said, Bo Kimball was on his team and he went drafted number 8, but Hank Gathers was obviously the star. He was the star, right? So I think it's fair to say that he was probably going to be drafted number 1. And if you looked in the draft to see, you could see that the Nets, it looked like the teams in the East, which ended up being the Nets, who ended up with that number 1 spot. So that's where probably Hank Gathers was going to go to the East, right? So that's a direct challenge, a direct problem for Michael Jordan. And this is in 1990, so he would have been coming playing in the 1990-91 season. That's still before Jordan wins his championship, because I think Jordan won in 92, I think is his first year. I think it's like right there. So this is like right there. Jordan's just on the verge of winning his championship, and here comes Hank Gathers is getting ready to come into the league, and most likely it looks like he's going to be on an Eastern Conference team, so he's going to be a competitor, direct competitor. And all it takes is one injury, one guy to look better than Jordan. And then that's what messes the whole thing up for Nike, who's got this Air Jordan thing they're trying to take over. Like, look how big Nike is, right? This was the direct problem, a direct obstacle right in their path from their plan to world dominance of the shoe market and stuff, and they were using Michael Jordan was the guy. That's the guy that they were backing and shit, right? And you could see that so look at what happened to the direct obstacles in the path of Michael Jordan that would have stopped him from becoming that. Len Bias, who signs to Reebok, next day he's fucking dead, and he dies of a heart issue. Then you got Hank Gathers, dies of a heart issue. You got that Reggie Lewis, because that's a guy that Jordan had said he's a really tough defender. Like when you watch the videos, he had said, boy, he's a really tough defender and shit. Plus he's on the Celtics and shit, right? That's another, he was an all-star type player and shit, right? That's another guy that it can be a problem to be able to let Jordan dominate and become the Michael Jordan that we all know. And how does he die? A heart issue. Again, all these same heart issues. And then you got Magic Johnson, he's in the West and shit, right? And he's already a gigantic fucking star, so they didn't want to kill him. So like I said, they do the soft kill, so they have him get AIDS. They give him the HIV virus. Who even knows if he actually ever had it and shit? He's still alive and shit, right? He never died from it and shit. So who knows exactly what actually fucking happened and shit, right? Like he was saying, when you watch that interview, he says, well, he says, yeah, I've got it. My wife doesn't have it. Well, okay, you've got it, but your wife didn't get it. So did he actually have it? It's like those things. What actually fucking happened? It's a lot easier to fake a test and shit and do some shit like that than it is to kill him off. But whatever it was, he was out of the league, right? He's out of the league. The Lakers struggled for a while. It was a while until they rebuilt and stuff after that happened, and allowed Jordan to just take over and dominate. When you look at the competitors that were out there, it's like you had like Reggie Miller. Okay, Reggie Miller was not that kind of a guy. And you had like Patrick Ewing. Okay, but he's a big sinner. And he's not like graceful and shit, right? And he's not dominant like Shaq was. It's not like he was like a fucking Shaq and shit. The players that were out there were not like these kind of players. So the players that were like the good ones, like the Len Bias and Hank Gathers and then the Magic Johnson, oh, they all coincidentally, they're just gone. And you got this clear path for Jordan to just dominate the league for the next fucking 10 years. Right? Which allowed Nike to become fucking Nike Air Jordans to just dominate, which allowed Nike to fucking take over the world and shit, right? And get this power elite shit, right, of what's going on. So that's what I'm saying. Fucking Sports Card Radio. You want to do some fucking real investigation? I'll do more of this work and I'll make videos on this and I'll keep investigating as long as you start. And see, that's the other thing. This is entertainment. Your videos and stuff, you're limited to just like scandal within the sports card community. You have like, that's what you do, right? That's your brand. Your brand is, we talk about scandal in the sports card community. Okay, well, the brand that I'm offering you, which is a very entertaining investigation, which is actually quality journalism, and you can uplift your brand to doing real investigative journalism about sports. The bigger picture on a world scale. You guys are like small time. You're just small, low budget fucking losers right now. Nobody in the world really knows who you are outside the sports card community. Nobody in the world knows who you are. Nothing that you do is actually going to affect the world and shit, right? So I'm like giving you a chance. Are you fucking real people? You want to step up and fucking show me you got some balls and are you willing to challenge these motherfuckers and shit? Because there's a bunch of other shit too that I'm fucking throwing down blows. I'm ready to fucking go to war with these motherfuckers. Hit them with fucking hard facts. Do some real investigation. Make some serious allegations against fucking powerful fucking people. You willing to do that, Sports Card Radio? Want to fucking step your fucking game up? Let me know. If you want to do that, I'll show you, I'll make videos, and you fucking keep watching my videos, and I'll keep doing more investigation, and you can do your own investigation. Start fucking reporting on this. You can still, this doesn't stop you from doing your low budget fucking videos that you do. Like, you guys are low fucking budget, right? You're not fucking investigative journalists that matters on a world scale. Nobody in the world outside, like I said, nobody outside of the sports card community knows who the fuck you are. Nothing that you do really matters and shit, right? So you want to fucking step your game up? You willing to fucking do some real investigation? Willing to make some serious allegations against powerful motherfucking people? You willing to do that? Okay, I'll fucking help you with that investigation. But if you're just this kind of stupid fucking shit, then you're just the Butt Brothers and shit, right? You're just over there with your stupid brother flexing, oh, I'm rich because I lease a fucking Lexus, or what are those? I always say Lexus and shit, because what's those new cars? The Tesla. I'm rich, I lease a fucking Tesla, and look at me, I got me a fucking Rolex Submariner, fucking antiquated technology on my wrist that nobody ever needs to know what time it is from their watch anymore and shit. Who gives a fuck about watches, dude? You're a woman wearing jewelry. If you're just a woman wearing a piece of jewelry, it doesn't even have a practical application anymore because nobody needs a watch because everybody's got a fucking cell phone that tells you the time and shit, right? So you already got a fucking clock on you. So now you got to have another clock on you? That's just stupid shit, right? So that's what I say. Sports Car Radio, motherfuckers. You willing to fucking get down and dirty and do some real fucking hardcore fucking investigation? Fucking make some accusations against powerful motherfuckers? And dare them to come at you because you know you got the evidence to fucking go to war with them? You willing to step up and get in that ring, motherfucker? Or are you gonna stay this low-class fucking dirtball loser shit that you are now and shit, right? So I'm giving you an opportunity. You wanna do this investigation? You willing to fucking do a real investigation? Do some real fucking journalism? Make some real accusations against powerful motherfuckers? You willing to do that? Let me know. I'll fucking start putting some videos together, give you something to work with and shit, right? Because I know your brain's not smart enough to figure this shit out on your own, but I'll help ya. Okay, we'll see what's up, fucking motherfuckers and shit. All right, wait for your response, you fucking losers. See what's up. Later.